So I'm going to briefly introduce materials now. So in the early stages of modeling, it's really useful to block out color. So when we initially create objects, they're kind of colored with these day glow colors, which are useful for seeing the sort of separation of objects. So in fact, if I change my display type to object color, you can see that my main building there is separated into all the different object colors and is very day glow. So I'm going to switch over now to material color, and you can see that's a much better sort of prototype of the building. So let's reset everything and just show how I did that. It's useful to note at this point there's a little bit of script you can do, and if you want to remove all materials from any object, you can just type this script into the pink window down at the bottom, which is $.material equals undefined, and that will remove all materials from the current selection, like that. So if you mouse down, we've got two different points of view on the material editor. We've got the slate editor, which looks like this, which is pretty intense, and then we've got this, which gives you a sort of prettier interface and a better overview of the different materials. So you can assign objects by dragging and dropping, assign to selection, like that. So I have this sort of, I don't know, tan color here for walls, for example. I can just drag and drop that on. You can also, if I select these objects, you can use this button, which is assign material to selection. So I could do that. So you can see I've already started to name things, and so this is the brick material for the chimney breast, and then I've got another material somewhere, which is the clay for the chimneys. Roof material. Just like that. We just get some random turn on there for that part. Let's name that bars for these little railings at the front. Oops, missed. And that's mostly there. And then we've got the windows. So let's make some materials up. So let's make something for this. So let's call that stonework or something. So again, I'm going to assign that to that material there. And quite simply, all we need to worry about at the moment is that it's a standard shader, it's Blinn, and then we can mess with various aspects of the shader here. So we're just going to mess with the color. So I'm just going to assign it like a dark color, maybe for that stonework, and ever so slightly yellow, like that. And that would do as a prototype. Just mess with the color. Sometimes I might mess with the specularity to make it shiny, like that, and that can be useful if I'm working on like weapons or something. It's good to note that you can tighten the specularity here. So like high degrees gloss for like very, very mirror-esque objects, and then dull stuff like rough metals, then like that, drop the specularity down. But I am not going to worry about that too much right now. Not for that. Then it's worth bearing in mind these windows are done slightly differently. So I have this special, what's called a multi-sub object material, which we'll get into later. But all you need to know at the moment is I can assign that to there, and you can see it divides the glass and the window frame into separate objects. So I'm just going to show you how to replicate this without explaining too many reasons why. So let's make a couple of new materials. We're going to call this one paint, and drag that across. I'm going to call this one glass. Now I'm not going to make my glass transparent at this stage, it's not necessary and it's just going to be confusing. So I'm just going to assign it some sort of blue-esque colour like it's reflective and make it a bit shinier, like that. So if I just assign, say, my paint to this window, then everything will go white. So what I want to do is separate out the glass from the rest of the woodwork, but because it's all one single object I can't do that unless I use what's called a multi-subject material. So I'm going to click on that little thing there, which hasn't been assigned yet, and I can tell it hasn't been assigned yet because it hasn't got any of these grey triangles around the outside. So if I click off, you can see these grey triangles for the paint material are going to go white, and that means that this material is assigned to the currently selected object, and when it's grey it just means they've been assigned to some object in the scene, and when there's no triangles around the outside it means that it hasn't been assigned to anything. So quickly finishing off, I'm going to turn this into a multi-sub-object material like this. Discard object, there we go, and then I can drag and drop my paint as an instant into these channels. Okay, and then I can, whoops, go select back again, drag my glass into channel 3, which is the important piece of information, and then I can assign my window to this object. There we go, and you can see that it's now separated out. Essentially every face has a polygon, sorry, every polygon on the object has a number assigned to it, which is the material ID. So I've assigned glass to material ID 3, and that's why this works. But as I said, this is just an introduction, so we're going to detail about, we're going to more detail about that later. Okay, so I just select the rest of these windows, for example. Ding, 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 ding. Now I can assign my glass material to all of those, and it will do that. Yeah. Because these are instances of each other, I can adjust one, I can adjust that one, say I can whack up the glossiness, and you can see that both change. And this works similar to objects, is, you know, because they're instances, I can adjust the parameters on one, and everything else will update. There you go, all done.